Why is a burrito called a burrito? Every year, Americans eat over 2 billion burritos. That's enough to wrap around the earth nearly 10 times if lined up end to end. But almost nobody knows why it's called that. The name sounds innocent enough until you translate it. And when you do, you find one of the weirdest naming mysteries in all of food history. Because burrito, in Spanish, means little donkey. And nobody can agree on why anyone would name their lunch after a pack animal. First, the translation. In Spanish, burro means donkey. Add the suffix ito, and you get burrito. Little donkey, that's the literal meaning. And if you're thinking that sounds like a strange name for food, you're right. Most food names come from ingredients, cooking methods, or places of origin. Spaghetti means little strings in Italian. Sushi refers to the vinegared rice. Hamburger comes from Hamburg, Germany. But burrito? It comes from an animal that carries heavy loads through the desert. That's not how food names usually work, which is exactly why this name has puzzled people for over a century. The first written record of the word burrito appears in a Mexican dictionary from 1895. The Diccionario de Mexicanismos defined it as a rolled tortilla with meat or other filling inside, commonly eaten in the state of Guanajuato. That's 130 years ago. The name was already in use, already defined, already considered regional. Whatever inspired the name happened before 1895, and no one wrote it down. This dictionary entry is important because it proves the word existed decades before the most famous origin story, which means that story might just be a legend. The legend goes like this. During the Mexican Revolution in the 1910s, a man named Juan Mendez sold food from a street cart in Ciudad Juarez, right on the border with El Paso, Texas. He kept his food warm by wrapping it in cloth and loading it onto his donkey. Customers started asking for food from the little donkey, burrito, and the name stuck. It's a great story. It paints a vivid picture, and it appears in countless articles and even some history books. The problem is the timeline. That dictionary entry predates Juan Mendez by at least 15 years. He probably didn't invent the name. At best, he might have popularized it in the border region. More likely, the story is folklore that got attached to a real person. So if Juan Mendez didn't name the burrito, who did? Nobody knows. But there are three main theories, and they all orbit the same idea: carrying a load. The first theory involves silver miners in northern Mexico. During the 1800s, miners used donkeys to haul supplies and equipment through the mountains. Workers carried their lunches wrapped in tortillas, which looked like the small bundles strapped to their pack animals. The food resembled what a little donkey would carry. Second theory, the shape. A tightly rolled burrito, all bundled up and packed with fillings, looks like the bedrolls and supplies tied to a donkey's back. The comparison is visual, not functional. Third theory, and this one is less flattering, an insult. In some regions of Mexico, calling something burrito implied it was rough, simple, or peasant food. Street slang does not always treat food with respect. Sometimes the joke wins. The burrito we know today is actually quite different from the original. Those 1895 burritos in Guanajuato were small and simple. Just a tortilla wrapped around meat or beans. What Americans think of as a burrito, the giant foil-wrapped cylinder stuffed with rice, beans, cheese, sour cream, and guacamole, that's a later invention. It came from San Francisco in the 1960s. A taqueria in the Mission District started making larger burritos with more fillings, designed to be a full meal. They became known as Mission-style burritos. These spread across California, then across the country. Chains like Chipotle turned the concept into a national phenomenon. The irony is that the burritos most Americans eat today barely resemble the original, but they kept the name. The little donkey became a giant. There's another twist to this story. Northern Mexico, where the burrito likely originated, uses flour tortillas. Central and southern Mexico traditionally use corn. Wheat flour came to northern Mexico because the region was more connected to Spanish trade routes and cattle ranching. Corn grows better in the south. Flour grows better in the drier north. This matters because flour tortillas are flexible enough to fold around fillings without cracking. Corn tortillas are smaller and more brittle. They work for tacos where you fold once. But wrapping them around a pile of ingredients, that's harder. The burrito wasn't just a cultural invention, it was a regional one, born from the specific agriculture of northern Mexico. Naming mystery has one more layer. In some parts of Mexico, burrito has never been the standard word. In Sonora, they call it a burro. In other regions, it's a taco de harina, a flour taco. In parts of Chihuahua, they just call it a taco. The word burrito is most common near the US border and inside the United States. This suggests something interesting. The name might have spread north more than south. Mexican immigrants brought the food to Texas, California, and Arizona. American culture embraced it, standardized it, and locked in the name. Meanwhile, back in Mexico, people kept using their own regional terms. That kind of drift makes the origin hard to pin down. A burro in Sonora and a burrito in Texas might be the same thing, or they might not be. We'll probably never know exactly why it's called a burrito. Maybe a vendor used a donkey and customers made a joke. Maybe miners looked at their lunch and saw a resemblance to pack animal supplies. Maybe it started as an insult that became affectionate over time. What we know is that by 1895, the name was already in print, already regional, already part of the language. Everything else is stories we tell ourselves. The little donkey has traveled far from northern Mexico. It became a Mission District staple, then a fast food empire, then a cultural icon. 2 billion sold every year in America alone, all named after a small animal that carried heavy loads. In a way that fits. The burrito carries a lot too. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you might as well subscribe.